Last week, the FDA gave the green light to Elon Musk company Neuralink to begin human trials. The FDA approval is a milestone for the brain chip company. It hopes the implants will one day help and improve the lives of people with conditions such as depression, schizophrenia, autism, and even obesity. And while the technology may be well-intentioned, many experts say there are a number of ethical concerns. Here now to discuss this and more is Dr. Joseph Meaney, president of the National Catholic Bioethics Center. Dr. Meaney, great to have you on. First off, let's talk about the ethical concerns surrounding this brain implant device.
Right. So it's one of these things that happens a lot with new technologies, is that it can be used to treat real medical conditions, but it could also have unwanted uses. And one of the biggest concerns is privacy, and also the capacity of transmitting thoughts to the person. So maybe manipulating or even altering their perception or behavior. There's also a whole class of people who believe in transhumanism, right, who are hoping to enhance human beings, so not really treat medical conditions, but try to create superhumans. So huge numbers of ethical concerns.
Yeah, and Dr. Meaney, do you think this technology, do you think will actually have the potential to provide real, therapeutic benefits?
Yeah, I think that the principal benefit seems to be allowing people who are amputees to control artificial limbs, but there are also neurological conditions that might be able to be treated, such as epilepsy or Parkinson's. So there could be some real therapeutic benefits.
Yeah, what about the potential long-term dangers of such technology, and where do you see this all going?
Right. So the idea of putting a chip into a person's brain and using Bluetooth technology to transmit thoughts back and forth to an external computer. The thought of people being able to hack into that, being able to manipulate what people perceive or what they do, all those things are kind of scary. And the thought is that, this is kind of the first step, but then these things could become even more powerful. We don't know what kind of changes to the human brain might be made by implanting these kind of chips in them. And so there's real reason to be very leery and to be very cautious about how one goes about this beyond, treating medical conditions that are real serious conditions, but looking at all the other risks that are out there.
Yeah, I want to pivot now to something else. The Universal Law Commission is proposing changing the legal definition of death. Can you tell us more about that, and also what the Catholic Church accepts as the definition of death? Right.
It's very important to note that the Uniform Definition of Death Act, which was passed in 1981, and then most of the states in the U.S. have adapted a version of that, came from the Uniform Law Commission. And it essentially says that a person is dead if there's a permanent cessation of circulatory and regulatory functions, respiratory functions, or irreversible cessation of all functions of the entire brain, including the brainstem. Now, the proposal that is being brought forward is to change that latter part to say that a person who has in a permanent coma, permanent cessation of spontaneous respiratory functions, and permanent loss of brainstem reflexes is dead. So essentially saying that a brain-injured person, severely brain-injured, but not dead, could be treated as if they were dead. And that would not be acceptable under Catholic teaching. St. John Paul II was very clear that it might be acceptable to look at, a complete irreversible cessation of all activities of the brain as a form of determination of death, but nothing like a permanent coma could ever be considered death.
Now, if a change to this definition of death, if that occurs, what will be the implications as far as medical practice?
Yeah, so the first thing that would happen is that individuals being declared dead who are in a permanent coma would then cease all medical treatment, right? And once a person is determined to be dead, they will no longer receive treatment. Also, vital organs could be taken from them. The dead donor rule says that you cannot take any vital organs from an individual who's not been determined to be dead. However, a person in a permanent coma could be declared dead and then their organs taken out, which would actually kill them, as opposed to them really donating their organs after death.
Dr. Meaney, we probably have about 30 seconds left or so, but what else do you think is really important for our viewers to know about this?
I think it's just important to realize that this is the Uniform Law Commission. So it's not a law itself. But if enough organizations and groups protest and say, we want a definition of death that we can all agree on, as opposed to watering down this definition, that is really the best thing that can happen. So it's going to be happening in July, their meeting. And there needs to be then a lot of protest, I think, if this proposal goes forward.
Well, Dr. Meaney, always great to be with you. Thank you so much for your time and your insights. We appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you.